Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of A Voice in the Hollow. I'm your host Miguel Ortega, and this is my co-host Tran. So thanks for joining us again today as we show the progress of an animated short film done entirely in Unreal Engine 5, um, made by two people that don't know Unreal Engine 5 too well. We know it, yeah, we know it much more now, yeah. But when we started, we didn't. So yeah. So we're doing this all in Unreal Engine 5. Unreal Engine 5, of course, is pretty new. What we're trying to do with this is, what are we trying to do? It's like an African horror film. Yeah, it's not a whole horror film. It's like a biblical fable, which of course are all horror stories, right? Yeah. Oh, look, we got Alex Alvarez in the house and Elvira in the house. So yeah, so we want to show you guys what we got done this week. So this was a super productive week. So for the most part, we've completely redone this beginning section here. I can hear you very well. Yeah. Now I can't hear you at all. Let me try something else here. Try. It's so weird. We never change our settings, and then yeah. Check your audio settings on your thingy. Make sure that it's not using your webcam. Well, while you figure that out, I'm gonna start it off. So yeah, so this week, just redoing all the stuff that we've done before that we didn't like. So I'll play you what we have so far. So yeah, let me just show you guys. So try and just hold off talking for a second. So let me make this.
Ni mawindo yangu, ulichelewa tena. Jamani. Nitakuwa nimeurusha kwa nguvu sana, si uone? Kweli.
So yeah, so that's what we got so far. I don't know why I'm getting those stupid error messages. Well, I know why. It's this version of Premiere. You have to disable all the media and then re-enable it, and then it disappears. But it's so annoying. But yeah, so that's where we're at with that. So you can see we got that whole trance sequence done this week, which was a big thing for us. Getting this to feel like the nightmare that it should be. Pretty happy with it. And yeah, so we got that done. Yeah, the trance sequence is pretty cool. We're really happy with it. So we started lighting these shots literally last week during the stream. So you guys saw all this stuff literally being conceptualized here. Let me turn off the sound while I'm scrubbing. But yeah, so we lit this one last week during the stream, and then this week so we did a mocap last week, and we did all of this like crazy twitching exorcist movements, and we did all the cloth sims on them. Let me lower the volume here for a second so that it seems like the wind is blowing. We have to put it on this shot here. It's not blowing on that one yet, but here you can see it's like violent wind, and she's calling for her dad. And these are sections where we don't want to subtitle what is being said intentionally. The other thing is we're trying to really use like we want it to look like a 1970s movie, even though it's being done in Unreal. So, but we're trying to use the film damage and the grain almost to tell part of the story. So whenever there's an emotional beat, like for example when she trips, use that as a moment to have the wear when she sees her dad appearing and the other sister taking all the credit for killing the animal. We would show the wear there. So yeah, the colors are super trippy, of course. Like this is this is out there, but we think it's cooler than just going with like a standard. Yeah. Can you guys hear Tran better now? Yeah. Then you should change your mic just to that thing for now. Even though it might do a crazy echo. I mean, we literally never changed this stuff, so it's so weird. Let me see something here. Okay, let's try.
Can you guys hear me? Still having trouble or? Okay, what you do?
Wait, were you guys able to hear the sound during the edit at all, or no?
Okay, they can all hear me.
Okay, cool.
So it seems like they could hear the sound.
Okay, cool.
Awesome.
All right, so Tran is back. So cool. So yeah, so just we wanted to show like how much this thing has evolved. Like you could see, I'm going to turn this off, but like the original lighting and everything just looks so different. Like this here, these shots are just drastically different.
I mean, there's some shots I like in the old one, but there are a lot of shots I did not like. Like that one, I hate that shot.
Yeah, well, the thing is, it just felt a little more generic. This whole part here.
That
like
one was pretty ugly.
Yeah, this thing here. So the new one I think is much cooler.
Yeah, it took time to get the hang of lighting, which was realizing that it's just its own thing.
Yeah, so there's certain things that we need to fix right now. So like on a shot like this this terrain was all done in Gaia. And one of the things that's unfortunate about these terrain programs is that it's just doing a displacement on its normals. So when it displaces up, there's no like sidewalls detail. It's just basically geometry being stretched. So you're getting this nasty shearing here. So we need to fill this in with something. And since there's all this like red liquid everywhere, we need to, we decided we're just going to fill that up. So,
Yeah.
so it'll look like there's something in there. So Tran will show you guys, because she came up with a really cool technique to fill that in. Let me see what else. So these things here, I'm gonna probably do like a stylized defocus here, but let me just show you like how we're breaking this thing down. So we do have, all this is actual like 16 millimeter scans that we got. So even though it feels like fire, like there's like a fire and like this, let me disable this here. Flickering light, all of that is coming from the film damage, which I think is even cooler than trying to make it look like fire. There is no fire. It's just literally this stuff over here. I thought that was much cooler. So this is real 16 millimeter footage. So we have like a lot of layers here. So we have that one. Then we have this one here. Again, real 16 millimeter footage. Then we have this one. Then we have this frame, which is an actual 16 millimeter frame. There's very subtle vibration to it.
Meaning that the frame actually has like an animation.
Yeah. And then like on a shot like this one where she like zooms out, we had to render it twice. So we rendered it like this, which we call like the Mario Bava pass. The very 1970s, 1960s, like Italian horror colors. And then we went with the normal one like this. You can see this is like super clean looking. So there's no film grain on this. And then just layering. And this guy, we have this one here. And then the frame, I think we have one more thing here. We have this one, which is the white grain. Just trying to get them all to like dance together. So she's zooming back out. Have it all come together.
And there's also that wind. So in the beginning of simulation, she has like wind. As she's pulling out, you can see that, and then it just stops.
The wind dies, yeah.
Yeah, so I think that adds to it.
Yeah. There's all kinds of rated R things if you look carefully. But yeah, so redid this one. Let me see what the old one looked like. I don't even think we had this shot before.
No, we didn't have
Well,
that.
we did, and it was freaking terrible. So this is how she used to come out of the trance here. Oh, I hate this so much. Let me see. So the original one, she does, I believe it's, something like this, which is so stupid.
Yeah, she
That's
just
her running away to her dad.
um,
The original version. She looks and then, wow, that was it. So now, obviously, we have a much more dynamic. So I might put some dust elements here. So the original idea here is that she's tripping on the original, what is it? The original spear that she lost. So this was going to be the shot originally, but it lost all its momentum when I started like this because of all of the quick cutting. It looks so much better when you see it with all the effects put on top. And that lens flare coming in, that was just a natural, a free surprise that we got, which I really liked. So I was like, that's great. And that's what I love about Unreal is that you could actually get happy accidents like that.
yes.
You just could never do that in V-Ray.
No, because you can't. It takes like 30 minutes to like preview something.
Yeah. So again, just using the films, the film effects here, just to like transition. So we have another one of those here. Just a real quick one, just to zap her back in.
Now, that's when you said that that sound has like a rise sound to it. Is that like what always comes before a crash zoom device, or?
Not necessarily. So in terms of the sound, so I had to put all this together. I'll show you what I ended up doing from a sound point of view. So a lot of this stuff, let me see if I could find. Okay, so like this, I believe this is it here. No. It's a lot of layers, so. Where the hell did you go? I think it's this one here. Yeah, so okay, so this is like the thing that we have here. So it's this sound effect. And it's a fairly short sound if I just play it normal.
What is that sound from?
I think it's something played in reverse. So let me just do this here. So this is the original sound here. Let's do this. It's very short, but then once you reverse it and you play it, I think I slowed it down to like 65%, and it just creates this buildup, which I thought was kind of cool. So there's all kinds of stuff like that. I think when she's zooming out, this right here, it's the same thing. No, that's the horn. Let me see, it's right. I think it's this one right here.
That's a question.
Yeah, this is just a zoom.
What percentage of current sound effects will you keep in the final, do you think?
I'm not sure. I like a lot of these. We'll always give it to a sound designer and let him take a pass at it, but I think we'll keep certain ones that I definitely like. Like I definitely like this one when it zooms out here. That one, I really like that one. Let me see what that is. And that's this here. So there's multiple layers of it.
Because you did a bunch of sound, like even during the trance, right? Like that was all like sound mix.
Yeah.
That you just kind of made up.
Yeah, like that one right there in reverse is a completely different sound. It is.
It sounds like a spaceship taking off.
So yeah, so we'll see. It depends. The whole the cool thing is that on this project we signed up to that website Motion Array, and I'm not plugging them because we're getting any sort of money or anything, but they do have an amazing collection of sound design libraries. So like if you come over here, let me so we go to, let's say, let me find this real quick. Okay, so over here like risers, right? Sound effects.
Preview.
And you can see you can just go through this entire library and they'll have all
Preview.
kinds of different ones.
Preview.
Really high quality, and it's a much more moderated collection. We used to just get everything from freesound.org, but it's almost like Turbo Squid if anybody could upload anything. Whereas this, you have to pay, I think it's $30 a month, but it's a much better collection. And then you just start saving everything like by categories, horror, interior, exterior, risers, whatever. But yeah, so that's that. The other thing that we did this week is we figured out-ish the fire issues that we were having with this.
Yeah, figured out ish.
Yeah.
So our fires kept turning off like randomly for one frame. They would just vanish. And you actually got on the phone.
With Action VFX.
Yeah, and they tried to walk you through, and we went through all this stuff like updating it.
Uende ukamtafute sasa.
Na mawindo je?
Yeah.
Ataungana pamoja na sisi.
Mbona? Yeye si chui.
Kamwe usifurahie madhaifu ya dada yako. Umenisikia? Sitakwambia tena.
Sawa.
So the fire's fixed for the most part. So the solution, Tran, if you want to say,
It's just a weird solution. So we first of all did everything updating. It took a very long time to do all that stuff because it's just slow. And then it still didn't fix it. And then I realized, okay, where's the fire going out? It basically goes out every 23 frames from the start of the render, regardless of what frame you're rendering. Well, sometimes if you render from frame 0, so let's say your sequence starts at 0, the problem might not show up at all. But let's say if you start at frame 100, on the 23rd frame 123, the fire is guaranteed to blink out. So I did a bunch of tests, and it's always the 23rd frame. So the solution was to render with a buffer of 25 frames. That way it's going to go out before the actual sequence begins. It's fine as a solution because rendering is not a huge deal in Unreal, whereas like if we were doing renders, we would be in serious trouble if we always had to pad everything by 23 frames. So
yeah,
because one frame, again, and just regular rendering like Arnold or V-Ray could take many hours. So 23 frames would be a lot. So now what we're doing for all the fire sequences is just adding 25 frames, and that takes care of it, which is it's a workaround. That's why the solution is like solution-ish, because we found a way to get around it, but it's not really technically the correct way of doing it.
this by the way, this is one shot that we're still trying to do here is we do want to show the actual hole because we realize you don't ever really see the whole hole. So we are going to do a shot here, like a POV shot, which we'll probably do with the Virtue Cam. But yeah, so that's something that we have to do. We have to put in there. What else do we have here? Oh, let me show you this.
Well, you also have this question. How long do you think the finished version is going to be? How long do you think it would take?
I think it's going to be like 6 minutes long in total.
We're
at the last sequence now, so we want to be done with this as soon as possible.
Yeah.
And move on to the next thing. So this is another thing that we did, which is pretty cool. This is definitely temp, but just to start getting an idea of like how this would look, right? So doing it something like that. Again, this would be one of the many of the things, but we want that old look, like the old movies. So
yeah, part of the thing is like when we it's just Miguel and I, right? So when we start, we don't have like a whole giant team, or it's just us. So we don't have like awesome concept artists to come in and be like, help us find the look. We don't have time or resources to really explore like produce, hey, let's do this art piece and that art piece and this art piece. And then normally when you go through that process, you'll understand your art direction beforehand. But because it's just the two of us, we just usually jump into it and then we figure it out as we go. So that's why we did the original first sequence, because instead of spending that time doing concept art, it was doing the shots and then going, finally figuring out what it's supposed to look like and then going back and fixing it. So, because now we found our look.
Yeah. Another question here. Do we have plans for the next project? We do. We have a few ideas. We're still debating whether we do it all like this, like all animated, or do we do it live action with all the effects done in Unreal? I kind of want to do a live action thing because this is taking a long time because everything has to be designed. So we might just do something that's all live action, but all the effects would be in Unreal. So, but whatever it is, it has to be short like this. All this stuff here, all this running stuff is from the new motion capture session that we did last week with Caitlin. This was something that we debated a lot, Tran and I. Like, I like that she runs all stupid like this, like her arms out like this. She doesn't run very cool. She runs probably how I would run. So
She runs like my niece.
yeah.
So,
But we had to find like a good balance. We actually rendered this sequence here a bunch of times because we didn't want it to look funny. We wanted it just to be the right amount of goofiness. So we actually had to do another version for these other shots here, which are basically the same, but we just grabbed her arms and forced them down. So if you actually looked at these shots from a wide, it would look really goofy because her arms look like they're broken, but it made her look less goofy on these other shots. And then this, that's just a raw motion capture with very, very minimal cleanup. One of the things you'll notice is we're trying to avoid, to speed things up, foot contacts and hand contacts. So we're making all the hard stuff be out of frame so we don't have to deal with it, or else you have to get all the hands to be perfect, the feet to be perfect. You'd have to deal with the contact points. And if we do it like this, like just looking up, people won't even feel that we're cutting that out.
Yeah,
It'll
you
look
won't.
like an intentional thing,
You won't know.
but it's completely intentional because we don't want to do the extra work. So that's the type of stuff that we're thinking about all the time. So if you look at a shot like this, you can see all the feet are always hidden all the time.
Yeah, there's always.
So how do we show the feet? How do we hide the feet in a way that doesn't look like we are hiding the feet? But like Rob Liefeld of CG, we just try to hide the feet at all times. So yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think
yeah.
it's okay if you show the feet sometimes, and they're like, oh, they can have hands and feet, right? So
Yeah. But we try to avoid it. So anyway, what Tran is going to start off, and we just want to show. So this is one of the things that we want to do still. I probably want to ask a Gnomon student or somebody that is good at Houdini to give like some fluidy stuff dripping down, but we need to fill this in. So Tran wanted to show this technique she figured out. You can see the grass here is floating. So this shot has issues.
Yeah, I noticed the floating grass.
Yeah, but Tran will show you this technique she came up with to fill this in,
Well,
which is pretty cool.
It's cool. It's not like anything never seen before or
Yeah,
anything
but
like.
it's still cool. So
okay. What I spent my week doing was a lot of shot modeling. So when you saw the sequences, when there's a lot of action and a lot of moving of the limbs, it takes a long time to shot model that. So, and then cloth simming. Cloth simming doesn't really take that long. The other thing that I am working on, which is driving me crazy, is the K-pit hole. The reason why it's driving me crazy is because I've done so much work on top of it over and over and over again.
because we keep trying to make it better.
Yeah. But anyway, so I am not having fun with it. But so if I turn off this mesh here, and let's just take a look at this one right here. So this is the K-pit that is based on well, that came from Gaia, right? So that is actually the hole that we're seeing there. And one idea to kind of remove some of the bad geometry in between here is just to cover it with some kind of liquid, right? So it doesn't need to be animated or in any sense. We just want to kind of fill it in. So I did kind of come up with a way to create this mesh, which again, it's not groundbreaking. I'm sure someone else has thought of it. Doing this. Now, just before I get into it, actually, I think I should show it on something really simple, just so you can kind of understand the concept. So in ZBrush, let's say I have this sphere here. If I mask the mesh like this, right, I just hold Control and I'm painting, which is just masking an area, I can actually extract a mesh. Let me actually just subdivide it. You do actually want this to be higher resolution because you'll get something much better. So you can do something like this, like, right, if I do a shape like this, and I can create a mesh from this. So if I just hit extract, that's a little thick, so we can adjust our thickness right here. So let's change this to, okay, that's still really thick. That's because the sphere is really tiny. Let's extract again. Okay. So let's just say I like this thickness. It's a little thick. I can just hit accept, and I'll get a brand new mesh. The other thing I can get from this mesh automatically is polygrouping, right? So I can do a couple things. If you can see, notice here I have multiple colors. This is one color, and the sides are one color. I can take my bottom mesh, mask that. Once it's masked, you can't actually sculpt on it anymore. And then I just take a smooth brush and just kind of smooth it down. So that's basically how I'm creating the geometry. It's a fairly quick way of doing it, at least the fastest way I've thought of trying to get some kind of gooey mesh. And then I have this mask region here so it doesn't completely move, right? So it's holding the base. Now, keeping this in mind, if I try to, let's just delete this. If I try to do it on this giant mesh, it would be difficult because it would take a very long time to just paint this mask, right? And I know that I want it in all the cracks. So what I did instead is I just took this mesh, brought it into Substance Painter, and I baked mesh maps. So you can bake maps under texture set setting. I went to bake mesh maps, and I just pressed bake, right? And it will produce all these different maps. If you go under here, what I got was an ambient occlusion map. You can see here it's darker in the cracks. I basically took that map and overcranked it just with like the levels. Not sure. Oh, it's not previewing because it's loading because this is very big. It has 4 UDIMs, which is actually really slow for this program. It can't really handle 4 UDIMs very well. So I got something like this, put a levels on it, painted out some areas, and then I got this texture map. Now, what I want to do is take this texture map and convert it to mask and then extract geometry from it with the same technique. So what I did here, let's just jump into this one, my demo file. And I'll just duplicate this so I don't screw up everything. First, I polygrouped it, right? So I have one color for each UDIM. Again, if we go back to Substance, you can see I have 4 UDIMs. So UDIM means tile, basically 4 tiles. And ZBrush will polygroup according to that. And I'll just do it on this one section, just make it lighter, and I'll delete the other areas. Now, once I've isolated one area, I then import my texture, my first UDIM. And when you import it, you have to flip your texture because that's how it works in ZBrush. All your UVs are upside down. And now I'm going to turn this on. Okay, so that's my substance painter texture, right? When I have it like this, I want to convert it to poly paint. So I'm going to poly paint from texture. Turn this on. Now the mesh, the color is embedded into the mesh. So I don't actually have any textures on. You know, I can change the textures, right, and have it off. It's baked into the actual polygons. It's like it's vertex color basically. And I can turn that on and off with this paintbrush. Okay, so now I have poly paint. And when you have poly paint, you can go under masking and you can go mask by color and mask by intensity. So it will mask by the intensity of the poly paint. So I'll hit this button and I'm going to hide my poly paint so you can see what it looks like. So this gray area is now the masked out area. Right, it's very complex because it's based on the map. Once I have this, I will just adjust this value because I already know what it is. And I'll hit extract, which will take like 20 seconds, which feels a very long time on the stream. Let's say I like that. I'm just going to hit accept. And it will now produce this mesh. Right, and so that's how I got that. And I just go in and I smooth it out. I don't know if this will fix everything. Basically, you know, we'll see. The other way is like, at this point, I think the Gaia mesh should have been cleaner. Had it been cleaned up properly in the first place, this wouldn't be so hard. But then we started putting more and more stuff on top. Now it makes it very difficult to clean up because you don't want to change it because you have stuff built on top. But that's what happens when you move quickly and you have a very small number of people doing the stuff. So here's where I'm at with this, and I will probably test it out and see how it looks. But hopefully this will hide some of that bad geometry. And that's it for this thing. Want to show some stuff?
Sure. So right now, like, you know, the only new things we have to show, like, you guys are literally up to where we're at. So now I don't have any more shots to light. So this is part of the mocap session that we did last week. So just trying to figure out what takes I'm going to use here. So this is the beginning of the sequence here. So there's nothing here, and they're chasing this poor little anteater, and then they kill him. So we have this music, but we don't have any visuals. Right? Okay, so this is the chase sequence, and this is really where you're going to see the difference in the two sisters. One of them runs awesome, and the other one runs not awesome. So what I'm doing here, let me just start from the very beginning. So what I'll do is I'll open up the individual FBX files. So if I open up this thing here, and I've gone through this before, but just in case. So this is just the raw file. And these were done at our house. So you can see it's just running. So I could just select this and first create a character definition. then select everything. And I have a preset, the HIK. And when you do that, you could see that now everything turns green here, including, very important, the fingers. And then I just save this out. I just go to File, Save Scene As, and save that out as a Maya file. Okay? So the reason why I'm doing it as a Maya file is because I could then open up this rig. Just give me a second. Takes a second because it's a big file. There's a lot of blend shapes in there. And we'll just link it to that file that we just saved out. So Elvira says that your technique is super clever and efficient.
Thanks, Elvira.
So we'll open this up, we'll connect this to the skeleton, and then we're just going to basically figure out what part we're going to use. So there's not a ton of variation in the running. We did try to change it up, but you know, the reality is you kind of run a certain way and that's it. So we're going to have to do some creative editing techniques and angles to make it seem like the run is longer than it really is, because also she's only running the length of our living room, which is pretty big, but it's still
It's not a football field.
not a football field.
Yeah.
So I'm going to just create the reference here. So this is one of the things we want to show is how one of them is badass and the other one is not, and this one is the one that is not. And when she comes to a certain, there's like geysers on the floor, like these pits. One of them just jumps over it, or a log or whatever, and the other one attempts to do it. She's about to do it, but then she hesitates and she goes around it, right? So this is all the mocap here. So there we go. Come up to here. And then you can see the mocap just ends. So I'll just go up to right around here, maybe 350. And then I'll just go up here to my HIK, bake to custom rig. So now that's grabbing the motion capture data and baking it onto this rig. So I can then make changes to it. So we have that. Okay, and now you can see if I select any one of these controllers, there's a key on every single frame. So now I could just go to File, Reference Editor, and I could just disable the mocap. So you can see the skeleton is gone, and that actually speeds it up quite a bit because it's not referencing another file. And now we have this. Okay, so we can come over here. Let's just create a plane. Just kind of visualize what this is going to look like. So she's going to run. She hesitates right around there. So what we could do is create a cylinder. Let's just snap it right around there. Material on here. Scale. So this is the first step that I have to do for everything. And I could start kind of getting an idea of what I want the camera to be here. So most of the shots, I'm trying to render it with a 50 millimeter and up. So I'll probably start with 50 millimeters, do camera settings, resolution gate, just to start visualizing this. So I know I would definitely want the thing she's avoiding in the foreground. The other thing I need to figure out is what is my 180 here. Okay, so I know that for the most part, based on this here, everything is shot from kind of, it's kind of hard to explain it. Let me see if I can draw it here. Pull this over here to the side. So if this is our world here, this is where the majority, like that whole thing is where they kill the anteater. They're over here. Let's say that's the anteater. That's one character and that's the other character. Okay. And we're going to say that the tree is over here. The evil tree at the hole. And this is kind of the pathway, the little alley or the little valley that she walks through, right? So I need to make sure that all these shots in the chase, if they're running in this direction, the camera can only be on this side. So the camera could be pointing over here, could be pointing in any axis as long as it's from here all the way over here, right? It gets a little tricky though, because once I get over here, I do kind of flip it. But as this section here, before she goes through the valley, all the cameras have to be on this side. So I come back to this where I'm trying to set up this run. What I mean by that is I need to make sure that she's running from the left to the right. I can't do this because it'll look like she's running away from where we end up. Does that make sense? So like everything is going to the right, to the right, to the right. She's walking. She has to walk. Here it's a little weird because we have an over the shoulder, but you can see that's why we had to put this one in there, or else you would lose a sense of space.
Yeah, you don't want to completely disorient the. You shouldn't when you're watching it. You shouldn't notice it. You should just feel like, oh, it works.
Yeah.
But when you're doing it, you have to be much more conscious of it and aware of it.
But because this was an over the shoulder shot, we were like, crap, when she goes that way, it's kind of weird. So that's why we had to put that in there again, so that you know, okay, we're moving to the right, 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 we're moving to the right. It's always going to the right, right? And that just goes back to like old school Westerns where the town was on the left and their house was on the right. And whenever they were going to the left, you know that they were going to the town. And whenever they were going to the right, they were going back home. And that's just like the film language that we've established for the past 100-something years. So here again, she's going to the right, going to the right, going to the right. If she were to go in the other direction, you immediately think she's running back, which you could see here, she's going to the left. So you immediately know that. If she were to go to the right at any point during this run, you would think she's going back towards the hole. So anyway, so as we're figuring out these angles here, we could only frame them from here to here. We can't do this or else it'll look incorrect. So when I'm framing these shots, I need to take that into account. So I'm going to start just framing angles that I like here. And then eventually we'll start bringing them into Unreal to get like a temp edit. So you could see the problem with a 50 millimeter here is that we're not going to have a wide enough field of view. So we might have to go for something wider. Your mic just sounded like it cut off. Did you turn it off? Okay. So kind of like that, where it's like really in your face. So let's try to do 30. And then she runs that way. Okay. So what I'll probably do, I'll probably have a completely different camera until she gets to this spot here. So what I'll probably do is, let's just hold this one here. And then we'll create a new camera. So view, camera settings, resolution, gate. Again, we have to be on this side. So I could do this. Do that. She's going to have a spear in her hand. So we can start over here. So try to keep her on this side like this. So I'll just go to view. I'll add a keyframe. Add a keyframe here. Probably cut away right before this, but I'm still going to put a keyframe here. Okay, so something like that. Then I'll go in between and just kind of move her up and down, or move the camera up and down to get a more handheld feel. And then we would cut over here. What I'll probably do here, so I like this angle here. So let's add a keyframe right when she stops, right there. And then let's come over here. I'll just select anything here. Reposition. Reposition. Keep pushing away a little bit like this so it doesn't. And then right as she starts to turn, we'll probably go to another angle. We want to make this sequence really dynamic and energetic. So you can see we do the broad positions first, and then we go in and just kind of offset them a little bit. So let's see. Okay, and now we would cut to another shot. So this would be shot number 1, would be this one. Then we cut to that one. And then as she turns, we cut to another one. Probably would cut to her sister running, to be honest, because we would want her to look and be like, "Oh my God, I'm gonna lose her." So we can, let's just do another one just for the hell of it. And what I'll probably do is I'm gonna pick a bunch of camera angles, bring it into Premiere, just with a play blast, just to start getting an idea of the timing. And then I could figure out, I rather like overplay blast and find, have a lot of options and then figure it out in the edit. Okay, so I got to be careful about my 180. So here she turns to see her sister. I could do something like that. Something that might be cool is maybe doing this and then kind of doing a pan to see the sister just running by her. And then she takes off. When she takes off, probably get in tighter. So I'm just adding keyframes by pressing S. And then we would cut right back to camera 1, and we would be back behind her. Something like this. Keep her on the left side. Keep her on the left side. Again, I'm probably not going to be using this angle, but we might. We'll figure it out in Premiere. Let's take a look at the other camera angles. So that's this one. I kind of wish we would have kept on going here. So let's go to view select camera. Over here, I feel like we should have kept pushing out like this. Let's get rid of this one. So I like that, but we went up too high. Let's do this. So we're going to have to adjust the head rotations. She's looking at her sister. Boom. Evil geyser. What I'll probably do here is I'm just going to do 2 panes side by side. Let's just do another camera. I'm going to select this camera here. Make the connection here. Why am I not seeing my camera? Might be too small. All right, so I'm just going to do the rotation or the translation here. So let's see. Pull this back. Don't like how it's rotating. That's what I don't like. Let's get rid of that. There. Okay, let's try that. So again, we would cut out before this. So let's start play blasting these guys and seeing how they cut together. So let's hide our controls. So I'm going to save this out. So save scene as. And start putting this into a shot. Okay. So we'll create a new file, a shot name for this. So we'll call this, we'll start all of these with chase. You see, I have all my folders already set up. So Maya cleanup. The hands will have to be cleaned up later. So you can see there's some weird stuff going on. Right, so let's play blast this. So I know I don't need any of these frames here. So I'm just going to set this to start at frame 200. And the only reason why, just so you guys know why I didn't just get rid of this first 200 frames, if you notice that there's, our actress Caitlin, you can see that she claps here. So that becomes like our clapboard that we're using to sync up the facial animation with the mocap. Since they're using two completely different programs, they do not sync up. So this is going to be a way of us tracking that. So when she claps, I need to find the
And she
motion
blinks.
capture
Blinks at the same
of the
time.
face, and
Yeah.
she blinks when she claps. Right, that's right. And so I just have to sync those two things up, and then the animation will be synced up, just like a clapboard is used for sound. So we'll set this to 200. So I would just need this. I'm just going to play blast all of this. So let's just play blast this. And at this point, I'm doing this super sloppy. I don't care. I'll just stick them in here. So we'll just play blast that. That looks fine. Okay. The camera gets a little funky there at the end. What I'll probably do is do the camera entirely in VirtueCam later. And I do want to do a whole thing on VirtueCam. So we will do more of that. Okay, so that's that one. Cool. And now let's take a look at this one. So let's pull back over here. So I feel like there is a shot that could come out of this, which would be kind of cool, something like that. we could do another one like that. So that looks a little weird, that rotation. So let's come back to this. Let's just pull back. So we're just literally probably going to use this here. You can see the deformations are all messed up, so that'll all be cleaned up later. Okay, so let's play blast this. And play blast. Okay, so we have that. Let's do our third camera. This one I might just do like her reaction. And I think I just have like some temporary, yeah, I have like some old facial animation. That's not the final one, but for now I'm just going to put like a very generic one. I just have like a generic long one. It's just a couple blinks and whatever. So let's do something like that. So I'll have to put the spear in later. So first the broad position, and then we'll go in and fine tune it. Okay, so now I'll go in between, just offset it, shift it around a bit. More keys than I normally would because I want that jerkiness. That could be kind of cool going from that right around here. Okay, so let's play blast this. And if you notice, like, we're not using any sort of environment here at all. We're just kind of figuring out these cameras. So you might say, wait a minute, isn't this going to get all screwed up once you need to place her in the real world? Like, where is she? It's actually not going to be that big of a deal. Once I kind of get an idea of what I want, I could just export a couple of pieces of the terrain area that I want out of Unreal, bring it into Maya if I wanted to, and then create an animation layer for the camera, move her and the camera together, both of them on a new animation layer, and place them wherever I want. And they would just act as an offset. So all the stuff that I've done here on this position will be one layer, and then the offset, which places them in the correct spot, will just be a second animation layer that just repositions them where I want them to be. So I could literally rotate them at any angle, whatever, but all this movement, this camera shake or whatever, would just propagate perfectly. So it's not like I'd have to do it twice. Okay, so now we have these three. So I could just bring them in here. Might as well just do it in this area here. So let's import those guys. So we'll start with this guy here. So a few things I'm going to do. First, I'm going to grab this frame. And I'll stick it on top here. And again, since this is low quality stuff, I don't care. I'm just going to scale this up, reposition it. I don't care about the resolution. Okay. Now I could grab this guy. You can see all of them are the exact same length, of course. So what's cool about having the exact same length is you could get perfect syncing, because I could say, okay, right here, cut out of that, and the timing is going to be perfect. So I just grab that, paste it onto this guy. The scaling I did. You can see we have a problem there. Like you realize, oh, because of the framing that we have, we are losing the ground, which is such an important part of this. So we're going to have to move this here. That's why we're doing all our rendering at a much bigger size, so I could reframe it in Premiere, move stuff up and down, left and right. So I definitely want this to be a little bit longer here. So let's try that. So we definitely need to see this much sooner. So I'll scale this down, move this up. Like that. Grab this guy. And let's grab this here. Throw it in there so we have some sound. Makes it sound way cooler. Size, everything.
Sound makes such a huge difference.
So let's take a look at that. We're not going to get the perfect edit today, but you can just get an idea of how my workflow. So I hate that move right here. I definitely don't like that at all. I want it to be a very clean push back, so I need to fix that, but that's fine. And you would cut. So this looks weird here. You want to cut as she's turning. I guess that's what I was trying to do here, but it's not a clear enough turn. Like you probably want to keep it up to here. Let's extend this frame. So I don't want it to look like she's starting to run. I want it to look like she's already running. So we'll start here. delete these guys and push this back. Okay, so let's create another angle here. And since we want to flatten this out, I'm going to try a few things. So I make it 80, this is going to appear much bigger, like a bigger threat. So if I make this wider, you're going to see the hole's going to look tiny. Such a funny thing. So we'll go for 80. Okay. Something like that. I want both arms to read like this. So let's see, was that good or is this better here? Let's try this one. So I know we're not going to use this part here, but I still want to get some momentum in the camera, and she's off. Over here. See, broader movements first, and then we go in and add our little tweaks here to make it feel more chaotic. See, it gets that handheld feel. And there are certain frames which I'm letting the head get cut off intentionally because the cameraman would not have adjusted to her movement yet, and that's going to make it look a little bit more natural. So you can see we're starting to fill in between here. This is only if you want this kind of low-tech feel, very handheld, and she's off. We can come over here. Kind of like this angle. So let's take a look. So let's play blast this. So the reason why she has a clown colors right now is so that it's for the material assignments in Unreal. So obviously she wouldn't be like that. Okay, so let's come over here. I'm going to set this to half resolution. And I could cut over to this guy. feel like right around there. So I think it's when she takes off. So right there, that looks good. So let's see. That's a jump cut right there. You can see this angle and this angle are way too similar. So that's not going to cut correctly. So I'll go to this. And then once she runs, then I could cut back to this one. I don't even think she's in there anymore. So let's see. Yeah, she's out already. So I could probably cheat this a little bit and do something like this just to extend it. So yeah, there's a weirdness there. So boom. Probably get rid of that right there. Push this in. This one's not working. So, okay, so let's take a look at this. So we'll keep our cut there. And let's put this back in here. Too similar, these two. So we need, so that's good. That's good. What I'm thinking we need is she sees her sister. I think we need a shot of her expression as she sees her sister running by and she gets pissed. So let's do that. So we would come over here. Just make that. The expressions here are completely temporary, of course. So we need to stay on. Remember, she's running left to right, so we need to maintain this. The minute she does this, she's looking at another direction, so she has to maintain that. So on our one of our previous shorts, the Nino, we really kept the cameras very stationary. This one we're doing the total opposite. We're moving the cameras a lot.
Well, we did a lot of stationary stuff because the limitations of rendering.
The limitation is rendering. Yeah, but the big thing is if I'm trying to cut here, if I keep the camera stationary for any one of these shots in this sequence in particular, it's gonna look like the momentum just dies. So I need to keep the camera moving here.
Yeah, we didn't have any chase sequences in the Ningyo.
No. The Ningyo is boring.
It's much more static.
Yeah.
We made it work, right? And then here we're trying to make our limitations work in this story.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so let's bring that in. So right there. Boom. Get rid of that right there. Oh, I hate that. So what I might do is this. This, I like this here. I'm going to cut it right there. See the reaction there. Needs more time, so let's push that out. That kind of works. Remember, this is supposed to look chaotic, so she takes off, vroom. Just take a look and see. This needs to be a little bit longer. Let's pull this out. So I think what could work really well here is just her POV seeing her sister passing her. So I'm going to save this for now. That's the thing about these action sequences, is like a million cuts. So let's go to Koa. Sorry, Ala. So, okay, so let's just take a look. So we have this. She's gonna turn real quick. She sees her sister running. And so we have to fill this right here. And then she takes off after her. Okay, so here I need to see the ground for at least a couple frames. So let me pull this over here. It's weird editing because you really have to be able to see like 5 steps ahead, because, you know, she has no expressions at all. So she feels like a crazy doll. So I know it looks really weird, but I have to imagine, okay, this is what it's going to look like once she puts a frown here because her sister's passing her. How is the environment going to look? So there's a lot of faith you have to put in this looking better as you keep going. So I like that, but here it loses some momentum. So to doom. It's just like a gut feeling. You just have to kind of keep doing it. All right, let's try. Feels a little weird. I don't have a lot of a lot of other stuff to work with, so I got to get Ala in here. So let's get her in here. So I'll go to create reference. I go to my mocap folder. You see, I'm really trying to organize all this stuff very carefully. So this happens. I'm not sure why it does this. It's really odd. Sometimes you just have to re-export the mocap. So let's replace the take. Yeah, you can see this one's fine. So Ala's supposed to be the one that runs awesome. So we could see it's like around frame 120. So again, she has to run from left to right. So the idea here, she threw the spear. Oh no, this is just her ducking under something. Okay.
I think this is not an easy sequence at all.
No, of course not.
Like it's not like two people, hey, what's up, buddy? They're not just like talking.
No, we're not gonna get this whole thing done. I mean, we're doing this in real time. This would take me, days to get this edit down, but
Yeah,
it's just showing the.
for sure. Well, when I don't do that stuff. Miguel does all of it. So when I see him doing it, I go, it looks pretty hard. that's what I'm always thinking. Like, that's tough.
So let's take a look at that. It's funny, like when Caitlin was doing a lot of this stuff, she kept saying the same thing that I would think whenever I would do any mocap on myself. She'd say like, "Wow, I thought my jumps were much higher than they actually are, or that my ducks are much cooler looking than they actually are." When you look at this, it doesn't feel so kick-ass. So you kind of have to, like this duck here, if you don't edit around it, it's not going to look really good. It's going to look kind of goofy. But if we edit around this, you go like that, and right as she's ducking, you cut to a different angle. Like there is an angle that's going to make that duck look cool. Like something like that, maybe. Have to do that or else everyone just looks goofy. This. I don't know what exactly this is going to be. Moment, but this is probably how we would get this to work. Just start roughing in pieces of geo. It's just some sort of structure, rock thingy. So I might try to jumping around because this is not really connecting to the other shot. But I just kind of want to see what is the best angle for this one. It's too distorted. So remember, we have to stay on this side of the 180. That's kind of nice right there.
Yeah, that could actually be really cool.
And something we might have to do here, which could look pretty cool, is maybe the camera does the move with her.
You know, I really like that lens flare on that shot where Koa falls down.
Uh-huh.
It felt so cinematic.
I love lens flares.
I did too. I remember first time seeing like J.J. Abrams' Star Trek in 2009. It has so much lens flare.
Yeah, but it never bothered me. I think it's freaking awesome.
Well, it looked really good because space is like black, right?
Well, the
And-
reason why he did that is because you can't have fog in space, so everything looks flat and all your black values are the same.
Yeah, everything is just like flat black space. And
Yeah.
I think it did a lot to it. I feel like in the beginning sequence, it would be nice to have not that much lens flare, but like
More.
yeah, I think there's something in it and disorienting when the sun hits the lens, right?
Yeah. So let's take a look at that. So I like that, but I do want to put something in the foreground to give us stuff to pass through. So let's take a look here. Oh. So we kind of shifted again from editing back to just camera stuff, but I think that's okay.
Oh, you're figuring it out.
Yeah, I am.
This is how we work. We just figure it out as we go. We work with what we have. I feel like if we plan too much, then you are planning for something that you don't know if you're going to even have.
Well, I think if you plan too much, you'll realize what a freaking nightmare awaits you, and you just crawl up into a ball and cry.
There's that, but we also don't have like unlimited resources to be like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if she like if you storyboard something out, you're not you're not considering
reality of what you're gonna get.
Yeah, the reality of what you actually have. So, you know, in like in a production with a big team, you can do that, and then you can say, you know, this animator does this, and build this thing or build that thing.
Yeah.
Where it just doesn't work like that. So that's why we work. We do it as we go.
Touch the left hand on the bar. I'm not. I can't change the animation. Whatever is in the motion capture, or else it just becomes too much of a headache.
Yeah, we like to avoid touching things.
Yeah, I mean, we would love to do that kind of stuff if we had the time and the resources, but
It's not a bad idea though.
it's a great idea. But it's one of those things that ideally the way to do that is if we knew that we were going to do something like this, exactly like this, is to kind of build like low res pieces out of cardboard or whatever on the day that the mocap is being done, so that when she touches something, we could connect it to the CG world.
But even then, that's a lot of time and money, right?
Yeah.
So like even if we go, this is what we want to build. I'm not a carpenter. We did build a lot of stuff ourselves on the Ningyo, but it was really painful, like literally.
That's why we don't want to do it.
Yeah, I don't want to do it because I'm not a good carpenter. I'm afraid. I'm really afraid of saws, like big time. I don't like nails, things like that. But we did construct a bunch of stuff very painfully.
Yeah. So one thing you'll notice is I'm trying to put these thingies here, these cylinders, just to give us parallax, so that we feel like we're traveling through stuff, because that's what's going to give us a sense of speed.
Yes, without the background, nothing. It's just blue, and you don't get like that motion blur effect. But I think that could be really cool for lighting, right? Like, it could be very dynamic, just moving in and out of shadows.
Oh yeah, totally.
You know, duck, maybe lens flare right there.
Let's make sure that on their playback speed, yeah, we set it to maximum real time. And let's just take a look at some of this here. I'm going to turn on motion blur, just so we can kind of get a better idea here. It's not the best thing in the world, but actually looks terrible. It ain't Unreal, baby. Let's see. Yeah, that's okay. So there's a weird jerkiness right around here. So I'm just going to delete those keys. So let's take a look. Okay, so compare that to even that looks better once there's props there. It's funny. Like before the props are added in there, it just looks so goofy. If you do that. Then you put the props and it all looks really cool. So let's put that back in there. Cool. So I do like this camera angle, or the idea of it. Right now we're just trying to come up with ideas. So, you know, you picture that with that music. Let's play that. Yeah, it's pretty cool. All right, so I know I definitely like this one, so let's save this out. So this is a completely new shot. So chase. Voila. Just see all the folders, all the structures are already set. And I'll just save this. Yeah, but we tried to, whenever we tried to make changes to the motion capture by hand animating stuff, if we were animators ourselves, I think it wouldn't have been such a big deal.
Yeah.
We're not animators. We're modelers more than animators, so we try to really keep what's in the motion capture as or be as faithful to what's in the motion capture as possible, or else we'll just end up making a mess. So you can see the hands are kind of screwy, but that's pretty easy to fix. So if I was happy with this, I could just bake this out like we've been doing. Okay, and you can see the hands look completely busted, for example, but I could open up Studio Library. So I have this. All right, let's go to our reference editor. I'll do this really quickly. I'm not going to get into this because I've shown this quite a bunch. I'll just select the controllers for that hand, controllers for this hand. So not the wrist rotation, not the wrist rotations. Okay, and I would just go to animation layers. Okay, and then in Studio Library, you can see how messed up that hand looks. I could just come over here and find a pose that I like, and I could create any poses at any point. So I like this one here. And you can see right away the hand changes from that to that. I could make it more dynamic. I could literally give her like Spider-Man pose, and then this hand over here. Give it a fist. Come over here. Give her fists on both hands. So you can see you're just storing these poses, which are great for the hands. And what's awesome is like at any point I could like select this fist here. But then I could come over here and grab this slider. And control the blend amount. So it's a more in-between shape. And again, this is not the proper facial stuff. This is completely.
Yeah, so
generic.
she looks like she's all casual, like, yeah.
Yeah. But this is how we come up with the shots. You can see she looks awesome, and then the other one looks kind of goofy, which is what we want. Okay. So at this point, I could start exporting this stuff out, and I'll export it with all the clothing and everything, and just bring it into Unreal just to start getting an idea of what it's going to look like. I could show some of that stuff next week, but hopefully by next week, you'll see these shots that we were doing today, all edited in and looking nice. But we started it here, so definitely like this one. I like this rock structure, but whatever that is, a down tree, could be a skeleton. I don't know, it could be something. Whatever's easy and looks cool. Okay, so let's take a look at it. Everything we did today and what it's going to connect to. So that's having a very hard time. Let me scale that down. It's because those aren't rendered. So, okay, let's try these. There seems to be some audio missing here.
Poor anteater.
Hebu nionyeshe.
Yeah, one of these, something got messed up here. So let me just close this real quick and open it back up. Yeah, poor anteater. Yeah, that pose library is incredible. It's called Studio Library. It's free, and it's incredible. It's really, the amount of time that thing has saved me is.
Probably want to enable disable.
What?
Enable disable.
What is enable disable?
You always disable the thing so you don't get the media error.
No, that only happens when I first render it.
Oh, is that how it works?
Yeah.
So it's like a bad bug.
It's a bug, yeah.
Ni mawindo yangu. Ulichelewa tena. Hebu nionyeshe.
I want to change the animation on her walking away on that one wide shot.
Jamani.
That's a virtue camera move. That's why I looked at the POV shot.
Nitakuwa nimeurusha kwa nguvu sana. Si uoni? Kweli.
Yeah, we're gonna do blood for sure. So here you can see, I'll show you this one thing. It's going to look really funny. So when we originally did this performance, I'll show you how it just doesn't work at all. So I think it's
Also, I should watch this again when we put it online properly and not streaming it because it looks so pixelated through the stream.
does it?
Yeah, it looks much better.
Well, okay, so but you could take a look at this. So this is the line that she says once she comes out here.
Baba, angalia!
You can see that the energy doesn't match anymore since we've made the possession so dramatic and the run so much more dramatic. Before it was much more subtle, but now after that crazy run, what you would expect to come out of her mouth right now is not this.
Baba, angalia!
Right? It sounds kind of just like, hey, Dad, check this out, where you would expect, oh my God, Dad, oh my God. So we don't have that. So you could see here what I ended up doing is grabbing a section dialogue that is more for the ending that has nothing to do with this scene, but has the energy that I want and putting it in there, and the mouths are not going to work or whatever, but from an editorial point of view, it helps me out. So you can see here.
Mama, nisaidie!
That's even this one's too much.
Baba, nisaidie!
Right, so I would expect something more like that. So here you're going to see the mouth is not going to match at all. And the dialogue, if you spoke Swahili, you would know that she's saying something completely wrong here.
Baba, nisaidie! Siwezi kufika!
So you can see it doesn't work at all because it's not cleaned up at all. The face is not working. The face doesn't look good, but you can start seeing how we're putting the edit together. Yeah, so that's just the type of stuff that we're doing. So again, you kind of have to be able to see a few steps ahead because this could be discouraging when you see something that just completely doesn't work, but you have to be like, okay, it's going to work. It's going to work. This is going to work. So yeah, anyway, that's it for this week. So next week, we'll hopefully have the chase done.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
It's a lot. I think it's a lot of work, though. I think it's tough.
Well, at least we'll have a first pass.
Yeah. I mean, I think you can do it.
Yeah. Oh, look, here's the shot that we're trying to find earlier. So this reaction here, this is the new one. So the original one was this. You see, not very exciting.
Yeah.
But you can see the idea was there. I'll tell you one of the biggest reasons why these here look so stiff, which is going to be funny, is this is me in the mocap suit, and it's moving like a 40-year-old guy, right? So you can see she looks super fucking
Still.
super static, super still, super stiff. And then this is a 20-year-old girl.
Well, she's 20 and she's also an actress.
She's an actress. Yeah, she's
so
moving.
There's the difference with like someone who's just trained in that art form that goes, okay, I gotta be like 14.
Like I can't move like that. Like look at those arms. Look how many. That's so much energy. I would never do that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's the youth and the acting capability.
Yeah, I'm droopy. I don't move like that. I don't talk like that. So.
No, but that's what Caitlin's great, right? So she has a very different performance for Koa versus Ala. Ala moves more womanly, and Koa moves like a kid.
Yeah, more subtle is an understatement.
It's more like stiff.
Yeah. So anyway, next week we'll get the chase in there. See the poor anteater trying to get away. So we do have a few more shots of the anteater, which are going to be pretty cool. I do wish there was one more shot of the poor little guy getting tortured, but I was a little bit afraid that if it's too much that the girls will become completely unlikable. But yeah, look at that poor little guy. So yeah, anyway, so thank you guys for tuning in.
Thank you.
And yeah.
We'll be back next week.
Yeah, poor little guy. Yeah. So thank you guys, Ricardo, Elvira, Sadim. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you guys around. Cool. So let me see where this is at. Here it is. See you guys.
See ya.